My real parents and my spoiled, troubled brother were asked to leave a children's birthday party because of the most absurd question imaginable. My younger brother is extremely spoiled and can't stand attending birthday parties that aren't centered around him. Although my family has tolerated this behavior, it is not well received by people outside the family. This occurred when my brother was 6 or 7 years old. He was invited to a boy's birthday party down the street, perhaps more out of obligation than friendship. My parents took him, even though I preferred to stay at home and play video games. Bored, I watched a disastrous situation unfold. My brother was caught messing with the presents on the table and the birthday boy's mother asked him to stop. My parents tried to defend him, claiming he was harmless. However, the birthday boy's mother knew my brother's true nature. She insisted that my parents keep him away. While some children tried to play, my brother constantly interrupted, trying to be the center of attention. When the birthday boy had to choose first in a game, my brother freaked out, demanding to be first. My parents even asked the birthday boy's mother to allow my brother to choose first, but she flatly refused. At the moment of congratulations, my brother threw a fit of rage, grabbing the table and trying to shake it violently. My parents had to hold him while my mother went to talk to the birthday boy's mother again. My mother asked them to let my brother blow out the candles first, suggesting they could redo the scene later. However, the birthday boy's mother politely suggested that it would be better if we left. As they tried to resume the congratulatory song, my brother couldn't take it. He ran over to the table and pushed the cake directly into the birthday boy's face, using his arm to knock the entire cake over. Silence followed for a few seconds, followed by laughter from the children and tears from the birthday boy. The adults were shocked, except for my parents. My mother hugged my brother, acting out of control, insisting that this could have been avoided if they had let my brother blow out the candles first. As the birthday boy's mother wiped the cake off her son's face, she yelled at my parents to get out. The other children began to cry when they realized that they would not receive any piece of cake. My mother tried to get my brother away, but he let go, knocking over the table with all the presents on it. I held him in a headlock until my parents were able to restrain him. Deeply embarrassed, I apologized to the birthday boy's mother, making it clear that she didn't agree with my parents' attitude. I was only 12 at the time and was perplexed about apologizing on their behalf. My father yelled at me to move, threatening that I would have to walk home. Without hesitation, he said he would do it, as my house was only a quarter of a mile away. I stayed to help clean up the mess my brother made. Grateful, the lady praised my attitude, calling me a good egg, while she described my brother as rotten. While the birthday boy was taking a shower to get rid of the cake, someone brought another cake. The party continued, but after it ended, the birthday boy's mother handed my parents a handwritten invoice, charging them for the destroyed cake. She included a warning about calling the police as someone had filmed everything. I handed the invoice to my parents, who were not happy when they read it. They gave me the money to return to the lady. That family was never associated with ours again, and the story reveals an interesting parallel with a previous video by the same author. He talked about his spoiled brother who never allowed his own birthday parties, explaining the surprising behavior at the party in question. It's remarkable how quickly an attitude can become harmful. I'm really sad for the birthday boy choking on the cake and proud to have helped clean it up. The birthday boy's mother pushed those people away, reaffirming that the party was not about the spoiled boy, but about her own son. It's amazing that the spoiled boy's mother dared to ask her son to blow out the candles first. This experience highlights the importance of not allowing children to dictate the rules in upbringing. Otherwise, you can create a spoiled individual, capable of destructive actions such as throwing cake in the birthday boy's face. In sharing this story, I recognize that perhaps I was naive to buy a pack of toilet paper for the family, but ultimately, it is for everyone's good. Our family is made up of about 8 people, including my parents, brothers, and my mother's parents. We have a total of 3 bathrooms, with my parents having a private bathroom and my grandparents having theirs. My 3 brothers and I share a bathroom. This morning, I grabbed a roll of toilet paper from my mom's cupboard, and she started scolding me, questioning why I was getting another roll, since we had gotten one yesterday, although it was 2 days ago, for the record. I told her it was fine and asked her what she wanted me to do. Instead of responding, she continued yelling about why I needed another roll. Frustrated, I responded, saying that I paid for all of this myself, sarcastically suggesting that she could pay me then and there. However, instead of understanding the irony, she continued screaming until my father arrived. At that point, she started crying and told my dad that all week I had been charging for toilet paper rolls, which was not true. I didn't charge or ask for money, because I knew that this type of subject bothered her to the point that she stopped talking to me. This was the first time I mentioned money, and I wasn't serious, it was just sarcasm. My father knew this and just asked her to calm down. Now she's threatening to give me the silent treatment for the week, and apologizing doesn't seem like a solution, because the last time I tried to apologize, she yelled at me and asked me not to talk to her. In my opinion, you are not the idiot in this situation. Your mother seems to be reacting disproportionately to a trivial situation, like using toilet paper. Maybe she has other unresolved issues. Getting the silent treatment may be the best option while she calms down. Remember, it is not always possible to understand or change someone else's behavior. Sometimes you need to give your emotions space to calm down. As for the story about setting the bathtub on fire when he was in 11th grade in high school, that seems to be a separate incident. If there are more details or specific questions about this episode, I'd be happy to help. When the idea came to my mind, when I read on the cans that the contents were flammable, I thought about testing if I could create a small flame above the bathtub, something similar to what we did in chemistry classes with a small amount of hydrogen. Curious, I took a lighter from my room, which I sometimes played with when I was bored. I didn't expect much to happen. After all, most of the deodorant was going on the towel, and the rest would probably dissipate out the window. So I turned on the lighter while standing in front of the bathtub, and a huge flame lit up, shooting up the wall and reaching the ceiling. The room suddenly became very hot, and my immediate reaction was to run into the hallway and close the door behind me. I stood there for half a second, realizing what had happened, and I started to panic. I ran to get a bucket, filled it with some water in the kitchen, and returned to the bathroom. The fire was still burning, but as most of the gas burned off within a few seconds, the intensity decreased. I poured the water into the bathtub, took the water hose from the shower stall next to it, and started watering the entire bathtub. I completely turned off the fire, and with my nerves on edge, I called my mother to tell her what had happened. Luckily, they weren't home when it happened. We lived in a renovated attic of a multi-family house with dry walls, which was crucial. I was very lucky that the walls didn't catch fire, and all that was left were some black marks. The towel on the edge of the cabinet, along with toothbrushes and another towel, were burned, but luckily I had already removed the empty cans when I went out to get the lighter. Because of this incident, I switched to roll-on deodorant, not only because it created a fireball in the bathroom, but also because it was better for my skin. Now, I'm stuck with 3.5 cans of old deodorant, plus a 6-pack of newer cans in my apartment. I'm unsure whether I'll take them with me on a future move or whether they'll stay with me for the rest of my life. I didn't tell my family or friends what happened at that time. Only 1 or 2 of my sisters and a few very close friends really know the full story. Especially my mother and stepfather never knew the whole truth. I made up some lies, saying that the sun had somehow caused the incident and that basically all they needed to know was that I was trying to get rid of the cans of deodorant and ended up spraying a little too much in the bathroom. Conveniently, I left out the part where I used a lighter from the equation. The only person who really knew the whole story was my therapist at the time, who luckily had a good sense of humor about it, and we both laughed a lot. If I had told anyone what really happened back then, I would have certainly faced consequences. They could have sent me to a clinic, assuming I was actively trying to burn down my house or hurt someone. Fortunately, I have overcome this situation and will never allow something like this to happen again. It's a crazy story, because I've been in that situation. I think anyone who has ever been in a school locker room knows that an axe plus a lighter can result in a flamethrower. However, this guy decided to create a fireball as if he was playing Dungeons and Dragons. Really scary stuff. I'm glad he didn't burn down his house and came out of the situation still having a place to live and a roof over his head, which, all things considered, is a pretty big deal if you ask me. My girlfriend wants literally every second of my time, and I don't know what to do about it. She always says she wants to cuddle and seems to feel like we never spend enough time together, but that's simply not true. For example, if I try to get up and study or draw, I get a passive-aggressive response, like "whatever today." This led to me screaming when I told her I wanted to finish scraping wallpaper while she slept, and eventually resulted in her wanting to break up with me too. It seems like she always finds the smallest thing to get upset about, whether it's a joke she made, something she said or did 5 years ago, even if I've already apologized. And while I understand that it doesn't make a difference, I don't hold her to the same standard. The relationship I'm in feels almost abusive, and I feel like I'm an emotional punching bag. I feel like I wasted so much time and don't have time to improve my skills or learn something new. She just wants to sit on the couch all day and sleep, and I begrudgingly sit there for 16 hours a day while she sleeps, being very careful not to wake her up as that would result in me being called names for different reasons. Try to get up and do something. Or if I get up, she just screams at me day after day. It seems like her emotional needs never end, and I have nothing left to give. It feels like I'm constantly trying to save a sinking boat with a 5-gallon bucket, and making it bigger doesn't help at all. While I suffer endless verbal abuse, being told I'm incompetent, being called stupid, being told I act like a child, that I'm a piece of trash, that I never do anything to help her, I'm normally very strong emotionally and can't get enough easily. However, I feel like over the last few months I'm reaching my breaking point, getting to the point where I just want to walk away from this relationship, but I'm still committed to dealing with all the consequences and the messy separation that will occur later. What should I do? It sounds like you really want to break up with this person, so I'm not sure what you're waiting for. If all the things she is doing are true and she really is treating you like crap, not allowing you to live your own life and being very abusive, then yes, I think it would be best for you to move on and leave this relationship. Of course, there will be fallout and it will probably be messy. But you'll actually feel a lot better without this kind of treatment, and it's so weird that you're sitting there with your girlfriend, and the fact that you get up to try to do anything makes her freak out and start swearing at you. How strange is it for someone who just wants to sit around 16 hours a day and do nothing? People have lives to live, they have things they need to do. It's unacceptable for her to expect you to just sit there with her. Having time with your significant other to cuddle or just be close to each other is so important, but I can totally see where you're coming from when it starts to feel like a chore and starts to feel like an obligation. If I were in your shoes, I would have broken up with this lady about a year ago because there is no good excuse for you to be treated this way today. Now, talking about mango, let me start by saying that this is the culmination of years of stupidity, but the full impact of it only hit me this morning as I stood in the kitchen scrubbing my hands and face like my life depended on it, after eating just one mango. I live in the United States and, until 5 years ago, I never cared much about mangoes, those big green and red ones you buy in the supermarket. They just weren't for me. I would grudgingly tolerate them in a fruit salad or something, but I have never sought them out or ordered any mango-flavored food or drink. On May Day 2017, I heard about this variety of mango that was only really available in late spring and early summer, and apparently, this special type of mango was delicious. I had my doubts, but discovered that a local seller was selling them so cheap. I went to buy some golden hook-shaped berries just to see what was going on, and my God, it was like drinking the nectar of the gods. I had never tasted such a sublime fruit in my entire life. I went to the store and bought 6 more and ate them all over the next 2 days. I was even on top of my sink with the juice running down my elbows like a barbarian, just chewing. The following year, when May rolled around, I bought 7 more of these special mangoes. The following year, I bought 9. Every time I ate them all within 72 hours, and every time it was a mango celebration. I would cut the mango halves from the center pit, gnaw them straight from the skin, and then gnaw around the pit, scraping it with my teeth just to get the whole thing off my face. Hands and shirt would be sticky with mango juice, and there was nothing better in the world. Because of this, I began to look forward to spring as a ritual. I have never loved or craved a fruit so much in my life. I was hooked. In the 3rd year, something a little strange happened. After eating the mangoes, the corners of my mouth were red, cracked and sore. I freaked out, wondering if I had a fungal infection or something, before remembering that I had just eaten 9 mangoes. Probably all that fruit juice irritated my mouth a little or something, so I just shrugged it off. Last year, I bought 4 sleeves. This time I was going to take it a little easier. I thought I had eaten 3 of them. The 4th was not yet ripe. When I woke up the next morning, the entire surface of my lips was covered in small, liquid-filled blisters, which burst with the slightest movement of the lips and itched as if the devil himself had sent an army of mosquitoes to kiss me directly on the mouth while I slept. I was in agony. I could barely sleep the rest of the week. The blisters were so itchy that I wanted to rip my lips off with my fingernails. They left a sticky, crunchy liquid behind when they inevitably burst, and new ones continued to form where the old ones were. I tried lip balm, Vaseline, even hydrocortisone directly on my lips in an act of desperation. Finally, I turned to Benadryl just to be able to pass out enough to sleep a few hours. It must have been the mangoes I bought online. I learned, to my horror, that mango peels and pits have the same oil, and this oil is like poison ivy. It's a terrible thing, and my dad's side of the family has always had bad reactions to poison ivy. I've never encountered poison ivy, but I've been enthusiastically finding the skin and bark of mangoes. Remember, I've been eating mangoes with my lips for the past 4 years, and I was slowly becoming sensitized to this oil every year. Now it has come back to bite me in the ass. My theory was corroborated later that summer when I went for a walk in an overgrown forest. The next day I had a painful itching and oozing blisters in a rash the size of a $50 on my ankle that took 2 weeks to go away. But the mangoes were so good. How could I give them up? How could I have discovered something so perfect, so beautiful, only to have it cruelly ripped away from me after just 4 years? How could I spend the rest of my life mourning what I knew and loved so briefly and then lost? So I came up with a plan for this year. I would buy a mango, just one. I would carefully cut the pulp, removing the skin and seed into small cubes. I would use a fork to eat the cubes one at a time, never letting them touch my lips. That's what I did, and it was just as delicious as I remembered. However, the deliciousness was tempered by the extreme care I took to not let even a drop of mango juice come into contact with the outside of my mouth. Afterwards, I scrubbed my hands as if I were in surgery, and washed my face carefully twice. I could only wait and hope that in the next 24 hours I wouldn't discover that I had once again condemned myself to a week of sleepless misery despite my extreme measures. It was then that it occurred to me that it would be like this for the rest of my life if I wanted to eat these mangoes. I would have to do this every time, for each mango, while remembering the absolute, unbridled joy of eating 9 mangoes at once, with juice running down my chin, without a care in the world. I can officially say that I created my own personal hell. My man really loves his sleeves. I think he really needs to see a doctor, if I'm completely honest. As absolutely hilarious as this story is, he probably has a mango-related allergy that he just doesn't want to check out. I mean, I don't think I loved anything more than this guy loves mangoes. I'm pretty sure that if he had one hand in a bag of mangoes and with the other hand holding his wife over a cliff, he would probably pick the mangoes. But if there's one thing I learned from this story, it's that you should find something you love and then hold on to it forever, because life is too short to cry over spilled sleeves. Thanks for watching. When subscribing, be sure to press the bell to activate notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. Hello, HistoReddit guys. Today I shared an incredible story about my passion for mangoes and how it became a real challenge. From allergic reactions to extreme measures to enjoy this fruit, this journey has been intense. If you like this bizarre story and want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any episode. Life is too short to regret spilled sleeves. See you in the next video, guys.